Hello, dear friends. Myself, Dr. K.N. Gaikwad, Associate Professor, Department of Botany, KTHM College, Nasik. Last time we have started embryology. We have completed the first chapter of embryology, that is Introduction to Embryology. Today we are going to study macrosporangium and male gametophyte. Under that, we have to study the unit tetrasporangiate anther, tapetum, and macrosporogenesis. The flower of angiospermic plant is specialized shoot which bears accessory and essential whole. Accessory whole includes calyx and corolla, whereas essential wholes or the reproductive wholes are androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is the male reproductive whole composed of many macrosporophylls, or they are also called stamens. Each stamen consists of three parts, that is filament, anther, and connective. Anther is nothing but the sac-like structure bearing two lobes connected together by connective. It is known as macrosporangium. Macrosporangium is also known as pollen sac. Macrosporangium or pollen sac possesses diploid sporogenous tissue. After meiosis, they develop the macrospore or pollen grains. Now let us see the structure of tetrasporangiate anther. Tetra means four. Anther has two anther lobes. A cross section or transverse section of anther shows two chambers. Now, right side chamber and left side chamber is there. Each macrosporangium possesses the sporogenous tissue. That sporogenous tissues are responsible for development of the pollen grains after meiotic division. Later on, anther changes in size, hence pollen sac or macrosporangium also increases in the size. Functional pollen grains, pollen mother cells, which are diploid in nature in young condition, that are develop the pollen grains. Whereas non-functional pollen grains become degenerate and provide nutrition to the developing pollen sac. The process of development of pollen grains form functional pollen grain mother cells is called macrosporogenesis. Macrospore mother cells are closely packed at early stage. Later on, they become rounded and get loosely arranged in an enlarged macrosporangium. A diploid nucleus of each macrospore mother cell first divided by reductional division, meiosis first, and after that meiosis second, produce tetrad of haploid nuclei. Further, macrospore tetrad separate into four haploid pollen grains or macrospores. Now, this is the section. In this slide, this is a section of tetrasporangiate anther. It becomes shows the outermost layer, that is epidermis, then endothecium, then middle layer, and nutritive cells, that is the tapetum. And within that tapetum, there is a macrospore mother cell or pollen grain mother cell. At the center, there is joining point of the anther and filament. It is called connective. Student, this is the outermost layer of the tetrasporangiate anther. It is called epidermis. It is single layer. Stretched and flattened lignified or cutinized cells are there. At maturity or during digestion of pollen grains, it may either away or remain as the stretched layer of cutinized lignified cells. Now, second layer of the anther is nothing but the endothecium. This is second layer. It is single layer of thin walled cells Next to the epidermis, cells are radially elongated with typically fibrous thickening and help in digestion of pollen sac. Cells of endothelium around the junction of two sporangia are without fibrous thickening. Just below the endothelium, there is a middle layers. Wall layers next to the endothelium composed of thin wall flattened cells arranged in one or two layers. Now in this section, there are the two layers of the middle layers. These layers are ephemeral and in many species serve as storage center for stars and other reserves, which get utilized by the developing pollen grains. Innermost layer of the each pollen sac is nothing but the tapetum. Tapetum is very important tissues are there. They are mostly composed of single layer of large size cells with dense cytoplasm and multinucleate condition and completely surround these sporogenous cells. These sporogenous cells are diploid before meiosis. These tapetum layers become nutritive. They are helpful for the development of pollen grains from pollen mother cells. That is macrosporogenesis. Cells of tapetum layers are secretory or amoeboid in nature, with many nuclei or single polyploid nucleus with many nuclei. Now in this section there are the four macrosporangia are there. At the center there is a connective. That's why this is called tetrasporangiate anther. Now let us see what are the different types of tapetum. There are two types of tapetum, amoeboid and secretory. Amoeboid tapetum means the cells of tapetum are big and unequal. Now these are the cells which are big, unequal, with prominent nuclei and dense cytoplasm. Inner and radial walls of the cells break down and amoeboid mass of protoplasm moves into the anther cavity. All the protoplasm masses fuse to form a tapetal periplasmodium, which nourish the macrospore and get exhausted. For example, tapetum tissue in Tradescantia, Typha, Helianthus, Anus, etc. This type of tapetum is also called periplasmodial type. Second type of the tapetum is nothing but the secretory. This type of tapetum is common among angiosperm. It consists of continuous layer of uniform size cells with dense cytoplasm. Cells of tapetal layers have a special spherical bodies known as pro-ubish bodies along with the other cell organelles. Pro-ubish bodies are produced by only the secretory tapetum. In this type of the tapetum, its constituent cells remain in their original position throughout the macrospore development. That means this tapetum only secrete the pro-ubish body, and that pro-ubish bodies are responsible for the development of the pollen grains from macrospore mother cells. This type of the tapetum is very common in Mirabilis jalopa, hibiscus, and ocimum. Now, next point is that sporogenous tissue. And these are the diagrams of how the tetrads are developed from macrospore mother cell to the formation of pollen grains. It is the tissue, sporogenous tissue, packed in locule of anther and surrounded by the tapetal tissue. We have seen in last figure. The sporogenous tissue possesses functional cells. They are called macrospore mother cell or pollen mother cell. Pollen mother cells are much like meristematic, sometimes cells possessing normal cellulosic wall Each pollen mother cell divides by meiotic division to develop the two nuclei. During the process of pollen grain formation, microspore mother cells are nourished by the tapetal tissue. Transport of nutrient from tapetum to the developing pollen grains is specific in each stage of meiotic cell. The process of formation of microspore from macrospore mother cell is called microsporogenesis. The pollen mother cells or microspore mother cells are, after receiving stimulus for inducing meiosis in the sporogenous tissue, undergo meiotic cell division. Meiosis is continuous process of cell division during which pollen grain mother cell undergo sequential stages which are categorized into meiosis first and meiosis second. Meiosis first is actual reductional cell division in which the diploid parent nucleus is divided into two haploid sister nuclei. Now in this diagram, this is the diploid one, and after meiosis first, it becomes develop the two haploid nuclei. These two sister nuclei in meiosis second division, that is actually mitotic. Each haploid nucleus is divided into two haploid nuclei. And finally, we get the four haploid nuclei. After cytokinesis, a single tetrad haploid nuclei produce four haploid macrospores, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The changes that takes place during meiosis first and meiosis second are categorized into various stages in this diagram. Mass of macrospore produced in generally in identical genome, but some differs in genomic content due to recombination or crossing over that occur in meiosis first and meiosis second. The number of chromatids in its chromosomes at each stage may not be accurately represented. Also, crossovers have been deleted and the figure for the sake of simplicity. Thus, if two gametes say appear to contain identical chromosome, they are probably dissimilar because of crossover. This is the lower figure, it becomes the macrogametogenesis. That means from pollen grain, rhesus pollen grain, when the gametes are vegetative cell and sperm cell during dehiscence mechanism, they become develops and finally develop the pollen tube. That process is called microgametogenesis. There are two types of the cytokinesis. That is successive and simultaneous. Successive means during cytokinesis, partition walls are takes place into two steps. First wall is for after meiosis first, separating the two haploid nuclei. Single cell is divided into two cells. This is called dyad. And this dyad become develop the tetrad formation. After tetrad formation, each and every four nuclei become separated by the partition wall. This mechanism is called successive type of cytokinesis. Second method is nothing but simultaneous. In this case, first of all, in meiosis first, there is no partition wall is developed. Dyad cells which are without partition wall. And after meiosis second, the cross wall is developed and that results into the formation of the tetrad. This is difference between successive type and simultaneous type. Next point of this topic is types of tetrad. On the basis of arrangement of the four macrospore in the tetrad macrospore, tetrads are classified into 5 types of the tetrad. That is tetrahedral, isobilateral, decussate, T-shaped and linear. First of all, let us see tetrahedral. In this case, spherical macrospore mother cell divides into 4 macrospore by simultaneously forming the cell wall into 2 vertical divisions. or vertical planes, right angle to each other, and that results in the formation of tetrad. 1, 2, 3, and backside one pollen grain is there. Second one, isobilateral. In this case, spherical macrospore mother cell divides by two cell walls formed successively, during which plane of first wall formation is vertical and second wall formation is transverse. Thus, macrospore tetrad possesses upper two macrospore and lower two macrospore. Next one, that is the decussate. In this case, the nucleus of macrospore mother cell divides two times and produces four haploid nuclei, which lie in four directions. Upper and lower nuclei get separated from the lateral two nuclei by upper and lower transverse wall, while the lateral two nuclei get separated by vertical walls. When four macrospores are arranged in this manner, the tetrad is known as decussate type of tetrad. Then fourth one, that is the T-shaped. In this case, macrospore mother cell first divide by transverse wall to form upper and lower cell. Then lower cell get divides by transverse wall and forming the two haploid nuclei, but they get separated by the transverse wall, and the upper nuclei become divides into two haploid nuclei by the vertical walls. That means in the upper side we will get the two nuclei, and the lower side we will get the two nuclei, and they are arranged in T-shaped manner. That's why it is called T-shaped tetrad. And last one, linear. In this case, macrospore mother cell divides by transverse division to form two daughter cells. Each daughter cells become divided transversely. Again, these two daughter cells become divided transversely again, and all the four nuclei become arranged in linear manner. That's why it is called linear type of tetrad. Dear students, in this way we have studied what are the different types of the tetrad. I am going to repeat. First of all, tetrahedral, isobilateral, decussate type of tetrad, T-shaped tetrad, and linear tetrad. At the end of this topic, there are some exercises or questions are there. Describe the structure of tetrasporangiate anther. We have seen in this topic. Write short note on tapetum and its type. Amoeboid and secretory type tapetum we have studied. Write short note on sporogenous tissues of macrosporangium and enlist the type of macrospore tetrad. Thank you.